Hello everyone, welcome to this new series that I'm putting together called the Superior Realtors. We're going to be interviewing the top dog real estate agents that are absolutely crushing it in the market. I'm your host, Jaden Hudson, and I'm joined by Luca Grusso, and today we are going to be interviewing Zack Rosicka. So Zack is a seasoned agent, and he has positioned himself as one of the top agents in the Santa Rosa market. Being a local native, he focuses primarily on commercial, luxury, and investment properties. Zack is a team leader, a top agent, a real estate coach, and a family man who has a passion for music. So without further ado, let's hear from the man himself, Zack. Zack, how are we doing today?
Awesome, Jaden and Luca. Thank you so much for having me. I appreciate the kind introduction. Everything's great, man. How are you both doing?
Doing quite swell.
I'm doing well, man. I'm super excited to learn more about you. I speak to so many agents a day, so it's good to talk to someone who's more seasoned, knows a little bit more, and kind of just pick your brain a little bit about some topics.
Awesome. Yeah, I'm an oddball when it comes to the business, so I look forward to shedding some light on some things and maybe some theories that come up that you know, yeah, we'll see how it goes. It's always a good time when I'm spending time with successful entrepreneurs, especially when they're young. So super proud of you both for what you're doing.
Yeah,
Appreciate it. Thank you.
appreciate it. So, I talk to a lot of different agents, and I feel like every single person has a different story about getting started in real estate. I know people who have been in the industry for 15, 20 years. I know newer real estate agents that started during COVID. How did you really get started in real estate?
Well, by trade, I played music professionally as a singer, guitarist, lead guitarist as well, fronted bands since I was 14 years old until 32 years old. So I traveled a good bit. A lot of it was local to the tri-state area. I was born and raised in Santa Rosa Beach, Florida. When I was 13, went to a boys' home, and it was a horrible situation in Mississippi. And I got out of there and was pretty much paying all my own bills ever since the age of 13. I lived with my great aunt and uncle. They were, I'll say, lovely people. They're both since passed. And it was essentially the only people that could take me in. But I, paid for my own food. I just took care of myself. And same thing with gear. Like with gear, I'd have nice gear, and like even the local veterans that would, they'd be. I could tell they were envious of my gear, but I worked for it and I paid for it. So it was instilled in me from since I was a young child. My dad was a mason, so he was a brick and block layer, did concrete work and stuff like that. So I was out on the job site with him and learning how to mix mortar. And then I worked for about a year and a half with him on 12-inch block, and not many realtors have probably ever seen or picked up a 12-inch block. But I did that for a year and a half straight, 6, 7 days a week, 12 hours a day, 20-minute lunch break, and I was the smallest guy on the block pile, and my dad was the boss. So I always, not only did I have to step up, I had to try to outwork everybody. So I've always you know work ethic, good work ethics have been instilled in me, and I'm very appreciative of. I know what a dollar's worth. That's what a lot of people don't know today. Even people my age, well beyond, they don't have respect, or I don't want to say respect. They don't know the value of a dollar, and I'm blessed and thankful that I did without when I was younger, and I was lacking love, guidance, um, and but what I learned from my father prior to going to that boys' home, I say by the time I was 9 years old, it set me up for success in my life, with what he had taught me. Now, obviously, I felt like he completely let me down when he dropped me off in Mississippi out of the blue. But it is what it is. I feel like everything happens for a reason. I have since forgiven him for that, and let him know that I wouldn't change it because it made me the man that I am. And now I feel like I'm um, always working towards being the best father. And man I can be for my wife and my children. And that's what's really important to me. They come first. I talk about business a lot, and all my friends and people that are big in the business, they have realtor or number one agent for this company or that company, and then like down on the bottom, it's like I'm a husband too. It's like no, the biggest blessing. This is all a byproduct of being a good man or leader, and I feel like I'm not calling myself that, but being a great man, I think starts with being good to your family, and that's kind of what's missing, is stepping up, being a good father. I quit drinking when my wife was 2 months pregnant with our first child, and it was the best decision. But the reason why I did it was because I knew that my son didn't deserve that kind of father, and party lifestyle goes along with being a musician, and that's what I did my whole life. But I rambled on. I'm sure y'all weren't planning on that, but that's really what's important at the end of the day. If you do have family, a lot of people like myself, I didn't have anybody. I was my own mentor, the difference between me and a lot of people I see is people give up. The thing is I never even considered giving up an option. I had to look out for myself. I was around dudes that should have been in prison when I was 13, and they were up to 18, 19 years old in this boys' home. So, I grew up tough, man. And, it definitely set me up for this business because nothing can prepare anyone for the real estate industry, as you both know, until you just jump right into it.
Exactly.
Anyway, that was a lot. So there goes half of our meeting.
No, that was an exceptional story, man. I mean, from the start, 13, really starting your life. That's very young, and to be able to face those challenges and even work your way up. Like Jaden said, we speak to a lot of people of different stories. Most people, they go into real estate because they want to make money. Some people, they have different backstories which propel them to get to the spot where they feel confident that they could do this. So your story definitely resonates with me. But going off of that, I mean, you seem very ambitious from a young age. It seems like you're determined from that young age, and even till now. My question for you is what keeps you going? At the end of the day, you can keep pushing and pushing yourself, but you will have those days where that motivation runs out and you need something that will pull you, right? Pull you through that mud, right? So my question for you is, there's some passion I feel within yourself. What's your why that keeps you going?
This is probably funny, and I could easily say it's my kids and my wife. But here's the thing: is I can't put a finger on it. Being that I was alone, I don't know what my why is. Of course, I could easily say that, but I think before I could even say my why is my wife and my children, I think my why is just something is in my heart that I was blessed with from God or universe, whatever you believe in, um, that I never questioned. And that's the thing. Like, I know a lot of people have to stay fired up. And when people are like, wow, like you got so much energy, it doesn't come, it comes from within. Like, I have a lot of energy. It's not for everybody. And the good thing with me is I have become cool with that. I don't want everybody to love me. Nobody's on the fence. You're either on this side with me or you don't like me, and that's totally fine. But there's something, I'm probably the only person I've ever heard say this, because I got to be authentic. I don't know what it is, guys, but I don't have to fool myself. There's nothing that fires me up. It's not the money, because I've attained some of that success. I drive the car that I wanted. My wife drives her dream car. And we worked hard for that stuff. That being said, after I've gotten it and after I started closing multi-million-dollar deals, I realized, this is not what I thought it was going to be. On many different aspects, I thought it would feel some kind of way. And then I found out when I started doing what I dreamt of coming in, and I came into the business broke from a TV show. I didn't go through all that, which we'll save it, but I was on a TV show in Nashville. And I just got my license prior to becoming accepted on the TV show. It was on MTV Live, MTV Classic, and Pop TV. 3 months, they blew their budget. My band was going to win a 7-album deal with Sony. And come to find out, we had the most votes. Didn't get paid for 6 or 7 episodes. And for 3 months in Nashville, flew or drove back home after that, broke. I wasn't able to gig during the season. So, or play shows. So I started in this business broke, and I told my wife, I'm done. I'm done with music. 18 years, full of it. And that was my last hurrah. My son was about 10 months old. I went full on into real estate, and I forgot where we were.
No
Kind
worries.
of just catch us up on how I bounced into it. I was playing shows for a broker friend of mine. Didn't know anything about the business, and I saw them pulling up in Turbo S's, 911 Turbo S's and stuff. And I did it year after year. I played 3 or 4 Christmas parties, and I sang "I Get Drunk" with the broker and his wife, and like the owner and everybody else there. We would party. I get him up to sing because he used to be a professional singer. I'd be singing with my dudes, and they always showed up. And I was like, damn, I wonder what they do. You know, what is that about? Then his wife comes like 3, 4 years into it. At the end of the party, Zack, yo, why don't you like get your license? You would be amazing at this. We love you. Blah 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 blah. So that created the whisper, as Steven Spielberg says. It created the whisper, and then it just started getting louder. And then I got licensed, or I did get licensed. I passed my exam, and I showed up, and I said, "Hey, I'm ready to sign up." They're like, "No way!" I'm like, "Yeah, let's go." And that was it. It was just by chance. I wanted another challenge. Music industry is super tough. This is equally super tough, which I never thought I would say. You're more battling. We're always battling ourselves more than we are the market. There's no such thing as competition, you know.
Yeah, I
I love
mean,
that.
you're saying that you came into this industry broke. You didn't really know much about real estate. I mean, you had the background in masonry, which I think has definitely helped you. You had a background in music. That definitely helps you with people. But starting off, going from absolutely nothing to like your first deal, how would you explain that process?
I would explain it like a confusing, um, devastating 8 months to get to that first deal. Devastating. You know, I've always been, because I strive really hard. Maybe there's some natural gifts there with some things in sports or whatever. I used to play or guitar, but I would put in the man hours. I would spend my time honing my craft, whatever it was. And when it came to this, there was no way to necessarily hone your craft. Like, what do you do? There's a million different things. We're oversold. We're being sold to more than any other industry.
Yeah.
Period. You know. And so you don't know who to believe. So what you got to do is you got to go out there and you got to fail fast, fail, 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 fail. And luckily you two are getting in people's ears, and well, of course, y'all's company is vetting people, and it's getting people that are interested in potentially doing something, or they can do something. That's the difference. All these media companies out there, they just want your money. They get you in. They're going to give you, reuse leads, and they're going to say, "Hey, look, it's your people skills. You're not good on the phone. You don't know how to do this. You're not sending enough text or this or that." Look, if I call somebody 3 times and they don't answer, okay, and I leave a voicemail and I shoot a text and I send an email, I'm not going to sit here and message them 300, weeks in a row. I
Yeah.
don't like hounding people, because that's what makes us dispensable and lacking value. You want your dignity. That's the thing. You got to keep your dignity, but at the same time, this business will make you want to lose that and just go beg, because that's how tough it can be. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it sounds so, being a real estate agent, you've overcome a lot of different obstacles. What would you say is your biggest obstacle that you've overcome?
Figuring it out. I think that's the obstacle, like, because everything's hard. And no matter which way you go in this business to become successful, the people that talk about the business that quit before they failed enough, so many people listen to what they're saying. Don't listen to people that went for it that failed. Don't listen to people that didn't give it a shot. And that's what, the ones that make the most noise are the ones that didn't do anything or never had any success and just gave up. But the biggest obstacle is finding what works for you.
Mm-hmm.
You got to find, number one, you got to be good at talking to people, no matter what kind of lead generation program or marketing or cold calling, whatever you might do. If you can't talk to people and connect with people and stop focusing on the deal and the money that will benefit you, and start thinking about them and dig into what they actually need and get to the bottom of that, you're not going to get to the bottom of anything other than the bottom of the barrel, broke. So you might get lucky and close some deals, but the biggest obstacle is finding what works for you, because everybody's different. Some people close the mess out of internet leads, right? That are cold. Some people can do it. Very few, they can do it. Other people can become monsters with a company like what you both do, and you all do, by having people that are already vetted. So when they do answer the phone, if you got some people skills and you connect and see how you can help them, not what, don't just ask them what kind of property or which one do you want to see that I sent to you.
Yeah.
How to learn how to connect and find out what they want. Boom, you're in the money, champ. Or if you're cold calling and you're going to get told no a lot, just like in any lead source. People are gonna say no, don't want to work with you. Already got an agent. You got to know how to get through that and just get to their why and let them realize that you're good people and that you actually care about them. And once that happens, you've already won them over. You know.
Yeah, I mean, real estate is, it's not about the property. It's about the relationships that you build with people and how you can help other people. I mean, I think that the thing that differentiates successful real estate agents compared to real estate agents that just can't get a deal is because the real estate agents that are just trying to get a deal don't understand that relationships are a key.
Mhm.
So,
100%. And kind
yeah.
of going off what you just said, Zach, failure. I resonated with that a lot, and I know Jaden does as well. We tell our teammates, we have a saying for the people on our team. We say failure equals feedback, and feedback equals learning, and learning equals growth. So that saying, fail, 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 it's 100% accurate, right? Fail forward, right? Because you don't want to fail and then
Yeah.
give up, but fail forward. And by doing that, you get the feedback of what doesn't work, and then you now put into execution what does work. And then I've also come to realize that when Jaden and I set, goals, because we're very goal oriented, goals that we want to hit. And once we reach that success, let's say we hit this number that we hit, I really find that I'm not that satisfied when I hit it. And I've come to figure out that I'm never going to be. And what I enjoy more is actually, figuring out the problems that are causing me to fail, right? The journey, everyone says, appreciate the journey. We're still so young, but I feel like I've realized that sooner rather than most people realize, and that I really appreciate failing more than I do succeeding as of right now. But kind of going off, I don't want to talk about failures, but what, I guess, challenges are you currently facing today? If you want to go into that and maybe talk about some ways that you're able to, weave around those challenges or at least solve them.
Yeah, absolutely. So here's the deal. So it's got to do with how we've been conditioned with the media, with how, we can sit here and go back and forth about that. We're not going to do that. I don't. That's low frequency BS. Okay, that all that media, all this stuff that keeps people divided is low frequency. But here's the thing: the problem is half of America is getting their popcorn, getting fatter. You know what I'm saying? And getting fatter on that media too. They just eat it up. You know what I'm saying? They're more worried about what Kanye's doing, instead of being more worried about them being broke, sitting on their couch, blaming everybody else for their lack thereof.
Yeah.
Okay? If y'all can, instead of doing this and not listen to the media, tune it out, because I'm telling you, it's all coming from one agenda, and it ain't for you, buddy. It ain't for you, brother and sister. It's against you. They don't want you to succeed. They don't want you doing what Jaden and Luca and I'm out here doing as entrepreneurs, coming out here building businesses, being great realtors, doing this and doing that. They want you in the system, and they want you to work and punch a clock and accept it and go in and out of work and go home and don't do anything but be just somebody to vote. Don't do it. Once you break through, I forgot what the question was. We're talking about failures.
Challenges. Yeah. What challenges do you face? And it's the same topic, because it's around like, how are you facing those and how do you learn from them and get past it?
Sure. So this is my biggest obstacle. So what I do is one thing that's an obstacle, but I found is something you can't change. It goes back to me speaking on me just having the gumption naturally. I don't have to have something to pull me. I find that over half the people I speak with, they'll say, yes, I want this, I want that. But then when I show them exactly how to do it and to get to selling luxury or commercial and doing it exactly how I did it, and step by step, I had no help as an agent, none. And that's probably why I've been successful at doing some crazy, stupid things like teaching myself commercial real estate. It fell into my lap from a wrong number phone call when I first got in the business 6 years ago. My last sale was a $6.5 million RV park. You know what I'm saying? I taught myself how to sell the joint. Nobody showed me how to do that. And if I asked, nobody would help me. But it's like the obstacle is just people staying out of their own way and talking about the agenda, is we've been conditioned like this. So when I talk to people, they say they're open-minded about their business. Let me tell you, they're not. People are so closed-minded now and know-it-alls. Even if they've been a year or 2 years in the business, 10, 20, it doesn't matter. They already know it all. They're not open-minded about opportunity. They're not open-minded about income opportunity. They're not open-minded about anything that will help them with business.
Why do you think that is? Because that you make a very good point.
Ego. It's ego, man. That's the only thing I could say it to, is conditioning from being in the U.S. conditioning. on what they feed us, and them buying it hook, line, and sinker. Everybody's scared to take a chance anymore. And when I talk about what I do, is not even a chance. What people are doing right now equals, you know, this. You're gonna get it for 10, 20, 30 years, unless you want to get to this and have this coming in where you actually have a free lifestyle, like, which is what we got into this business for, is to be able to make our own schedule. If you're successful, you realize real fast. If you're successful, and if you're like, you're lying, well, you're not successful. Is when you are successful and you're doing what we're supposed to be doing, and you have a girlfriend, she's gonna leave you. She's gonna leave you. Okay. It doesn't matter how much money you have, unless you're making a lot, unless you're making a big time check, multiple. She's out of here, because you're going to spend no time with her, because you're out here crushing it. When you come home, you're going to be ready to go to sleep, eat dinner, and I promise you that loser girlfriend ain't going to have dinner ready for you either. Okay, yeah. So you ain't going to be happy with that. So what do you have to come home to anyway? If you're crushing it, you have no time, unless you learn how to structure it, like some people that I'm friends with, like myself, my partners, people that are outside of my company and my group, right? They're flying to Vail, they're flying here, they're flying there, and they got their own team, and they're closing, and they'll close 400 million this year, with like 8 people. So they've got it figured out, but it's a very small niche. So the people that have it figured out, that aren't open-minded, are the ones that aren't there, and they say they want more, but they're not willing to risk anything. And even when there's no risk and all upside for to be able to build freedom, they're just not open-minded. So people are their own worst enemy. It's been since day one, just like Adam and Eve. Now that I'm talking about it, it's just like Adam and Eve all the way to now. Yeah. People are keeping themselves from making money and from building reoccurring income and compounding income and selling luxury. Look, people never try it. No wonder why so few do it, is because everybody listens to people who say, you can't do it. There's no way you're going to be able to do it. You have to dress like this. You have to drive that car. You have to go to the places and sign up with the country clubs that they hang out in. Absolutely not. Absolutely not. When you're starting out as a realtor, if you're not worth $1 million, you're not going to be able to go pay $150,000 or $200,000 a year to become part of that country club. You don't have another $150,000 to $300,000 to go spend on the car that they're driving, yo. It's all a lie. I showed up in my wife's 350Z because my car was in the shop. It was a 2004. Okay. The paint was completely peeled off the back hatch from where she had gotten it repainted. But she got it off the showroom floor in 2004. This is 2 years ago. I stopped in, I put on my nice clothes, I pulled into the RV park, and I talked to Darren and his father, Brian. I knew they were selling the RV park on their own, and they were selling another property on their own. It was 13.5 million and 7 million. So 7, 14. So it was what is that? Like, I don't know, 23.
21.
Yeah, $21.5 million in 2 listings. By the end of the conversation, they asked me what my brand was. Everybody's like, well, what? I have brand recognition. Okay. When I say Berkshire Hathaway, everybody listens. I'm like, well, that lets me know when they say that. I'm like, okay, well, you just don't realize the value of you yet. That's the only difference. You know what I'm saying? Like your brand, we all know, like you're talking about Berkshire Hathaway. Have you ever met Berkshire Hathaway? You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
who Berkshire Hathaway is? Has Warren Buffett showed up when it was time to take that listing appointment? Yeah. Hell no.
Never.
He's doing that residual compounding income is what Warren's doing. Okay. Yeah. That stuff that you're bypassing. Anyway, it's all full circle. But essentially, I go in there just to see how they're doing. Didn't ask for anything. They asked me about my company. We're on the stock market. I told them about it. I said, yeah. I said, this is it. This is blah, 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 blah. I'm not going to go into that. He literally, the son looks it up right now. He's a stock guy. He looks it up. He's like, holy smokes, man. He just did a little research while I kept talking to the father. He went listening. He did this. He bought a big chunk of our company as we were talking, and he didn't know who we were. So people are like, oh, it's the brand recognition. No, dude had never heard of it. Not only that, he bought our stock and a chunk of it and said, this is amazing, Zach. I'm so happy for you, And boom, like 10, 15 minutes later, the father looks at Darren and he goes, hey, Darren, he goes, if we don't sell them by the end of the month, let's go ahead and give them both. I didn't know that was my goal. Yeah. I didn't ask for it. I just said, how's it going? How are y'all doing? Any offers? Connected with them for 40 minutes or so, man.
Yeah.
They said that. We walk back out. Darren walks me out, and his father comes out front, and they see what car I'm getting into, dude. that one with the paint coming off of it.
Mm-hmm.
Over $20 million in listings. I call him the next day. I say, Darren, I called the son. I said, Darren, I said, look, man, I got somebody ready to make an offer. I said, I'm going to send you a commission agreement, right? So I made the unthinkable happen. I'm ready to write an offer. They had it on and off the market for 25 years. Okay, never sold it. I had an offer. He goes, my dad and I talked last night, Zach, after you came by. He goes, don't send a commission agreement. Go ahead and send me 2 listing agreements. So with the paint peeling off 350Z from 2004, I took over over $20 million in listings. You know,
Yeah.
and so it's not the car you drive. It ain't the country club. And those guys own houses too. They got multiple other properties, dude. Okay. These people want authenticity. What everybody's missing when they go put on that shirt and they go get that car if they can't afford it, or they go in like major debt to make that happen to fit in and buy luxury. When you show up, they're not going to respect you anymore because you're driving a 911 as you do a Nissan 350Z from 2004 with no paint on the damn thing. Okay. It's all believing in yourself. When you have confidence, that's all it is. And I'm telling you, when I was new to this business, I was scared like I was the first time I was on stage playing guitar and singing in front of people. Very vulnerable. Not quite as bad, because that's really vulnerable. But this was another thing I hadn't felt in forever. You got to go through it. Everybody's like, well, can you go on a listing appointment with me? I said, the best thing I could ever do is send you along, because that's how I did it. You get over it, and you need to go into another one. And then you go to another one. That's how you become confident. You just got to exude confidence. People are attracted to that. Go ahead, Jake. Keep me on track, bro.
So, I mean, I think that a lot of people have limiting beliefs, and real estate agents definitely have a lot of limiting beliefs, and it definitely holds them back. But how you get over those limiting beliefs is taking action. That is the only way that you're going to defeat those limiting beliefs and put them in the ground so that you can succeed.
Yeah.
So
and not overanalyze, analysis paralysis.
Not
a lot
overanalyze.
Of people do that. You know, they just
that's where everybody fails. And the thing is like the anticipation is so much worse than the actual fear. The fear of doing something without knowing. Just go ahead and start. Hit start button. Make the calls. Do what you got to do. And once you get through the first 2, 3, 4, 5 calls, right, you're going to realize that these people actually kind of are cool and they kind of want to hear from you. And then you meet an a-hole. Yeah. The thing is, when you meet an a-hole, make sure that you say, hey, look, sorry. Hey, sorry you're having a bad day. Have a blessed one. Good speaking. Click. Make sure you call the next one, because every time I've had somebody bad on the phone, the next person I call, lifelong friend, every time. So that's what you get rewarded with when you continue to push through. If you are willing to become uncomfortable for a short amount of time, you're going to be comfortable the rest of your life. But if you listen to everybody else and use everything as an excuse, when you're making an excuse to somebody like me or agents do, and they're like, oh, you have to do this. Well, I'm not going to do it because of one person I spoke with that owned a $2 million house I had the other day. The guy's like 50 years old, right? And he was a stand-up comedian. I said, you're a stand-up comedian. I said, you can do anything. There's nothing you can't do if you're stand-up, stand-up comedian. And he started saying all this stuff about what they. I said, here's the thing: they're hoity-toity, they're this and that. You have to drive the same cars. That's what this woman said to me. That's doing really good in the neighborhood. I said, maybe that was the case 30 years ago. I said, that's not the case today, homie. I said, and I said all this hoity-toity stuff. I said, I got to be honest with you, and see, I'm honest with people, so I get uncomfortable. I make them. I'm not uncomfortable doing this. I make them uncomfortable by calling them out on. I'm like, I'm here to tell you, that's not the truth. I said, that's the truth that you have a preconceived notion of what it's like only by speaking to one person. I said, I've spoke to him for 6 years, and actually way more than that, affluent people. I said, let me tell you something. 99% of them are easy to talk to. They don't BS. They're very compassionate, and they're good people. I said, that's why they've gotten what they have is because they deserved it, and they earned it, and they're good people. I said, yeah, you meet some a-holes. It happens. They're there. But very few. Easiest clients you ever work with are people that got the money. Yeah. Period.
100%. And then to kind of go off of what you were saying, I know, Jaden, we have a little bit of time because of the Zoom thing, so we might just start a new one just to finish this out. But I kind of want to hear something. This isn't even in the script. This is something that you brought up to my attention. A lot of agents who are maybe scared to take that step or just to take action, even whether it's just picking up the phone and calling a number, or going into a listing appointment. Something that I've learned when I first got into business, and it's something that the world doesn't teach you. The world teaches you to be proactive, right? So to be ready for what's going to happen, to prepare, right? And so I feel as if though, and this is what I've learned, is people who are proactive, who are trying to prepare for things without actually having, what's supposed to be done before, right? They're
Sure.
overanalyzing it. For instance, let me give you an example. A real estate agent who's worried about how to market a house or how to get, their seller a buyer. Why are they worried about that if they don't even have any sellers, if they don't have any clients? They need to be reactive. All right, let me start dialing, let me start calling, let me get someone on the phone. Boom. Now you have a client. Now you could be reactive in a sense. Go worry about the marketing. Go worry about finding the buyer for your seller, right? So what's your take on that?
Oh, being reactive, yeah. I had this happen with somebody that is a partner of mine, and this person, I'm not going to say he or she, um, was all worried about our CRM, our CRM, our CRM. It's not. It's I got to figure it out. I got to figure it out. I got to figure it out. Look, yo, if you will spend the time that you do posting on Facebook and Instagram and getting attention, trying to get attention, and you would have on your CRM, you'd already have figured that out. The
Mm,
CRM would have been taken care of in the last 3, 4 months. You know what I'm saying? That's easy. How did I figure anything out? I clicked around until I figured it out. That's the attitude you got to have. Figure it out. There's don't, nobody's going to come and save you. Um, 95% of y'all brokers ain't going to answer the daggone phone, period. So don't expect anything from them. And it's the best thing that could ever do for you is you got to, one thing I will say you need to be like me on is figure it out. The only person that's going to do good for you is you. You can't blame everybody for your mishaps in 5 years down the road if you're married, or you got to help your mother, your father who's starving or they're sick. How are you going to tell them, I don't know, I couldn't pick up the phone 6 years later? You better pick up that damn phone for yourself first and foremost. And that's what I'm saying. Before I even get my why from my kid, I got the why in here. So, it's, you got to get that internal fire in whatever you do, no matter what. Dude, you think that I want to be spending my Saturdays out here showing people who might not buy property? You think I would need to be out here showing them property? Or would I be rather spending time? Some agents tell me they'd be rather be showing property. I'm like, well, you're either stupid or you're lying. You know what I'm saying? I'd rather have this coin in the bank where I could be having time with my family, friends, and my partners that help bless everybody and pay for them a trip on some Lear jets. All right. And then going to feed some hungry mouths in Uganda and up in here too in the United States. We need help. All this money paid into taxes, and we got people that are homeless, and people still talking about LA like it's something special. And you
Mhm.
got people that are, it's like a homeless shelter outside in LA. People getting robbed in the middle of the day.
yeah, LA is a whole different story, man. I can never see myself living
Yeah.
anywhere.
Yeah, and it's just like no, we need a lot of help here. My mother was mentally ill. I'll just touch on that real quick. She never got the help she needed. She passed away at 48 unexpectedly, and I visited her when she would go into psychosis. Ever since I was like 3 years old, that did some damage to my subconscious and the little child inside of me because I wanted to give her a better life, but I couldn't help her. What am I trying to say? Psychiatrists still have not figured it out yet. All these years later, they can't help people that are mentally ill. What you can do is get them some mentorship. Get them some mentorship and let them know that there is a way. And even if they do have to be on medication, great. But really, really, if you eat, healthy, you're probably going to be crazy. You know what I'm
Mhm.
saying? That psychosis will stop dying off. That schizophrenia, if you eat healthy and take care of yourself, and you have some people to watch over you and love and care for you, that's it. We don't need people just to strap them down, and doctors in a hospital or registered nurses strapping people down when they start getting physical. What we got to do is, yeah, restrain them, but figure out why they're getting physical.
Yeah.
It's because you ain't running the ship, you ain't running the machine right. So that's what I'm saying. I'd rather be doing some philanthropic work than, and that's the thing. We got to get to this, but in order to get to that, we got to take action and pick up the phone. We got to, if you're scared to cold call, like I wasn't, okay, you could really bless yourself with some cold calls. But here's the thing, you're still going to be cold calling anyway.
Yeah.
You get with Prime Media and Jaden and Luca, and you get in here and you start calling these people and you connect with them. That's the way that you get to some freedom. That's the way that you want to be busy. If you're new, you want to be busy. You
Of
better
course.
be you better be crushing it, connecting with people. And if there's not enough leads, cool. Well, then pay my young brothers more and get more leads coming in. That's how you do it. And you need to be talking to more people, because if you are not talking to people that can afford to do something or already own the homes that you want to sell, then you're backing up. if you're working on your KV core, if you're working on your Boomtown or your CRM, and but you're not calling people and turning over rocks, and you don't have 2,000 people to put in there, get on the phone.
Yeah.
Get on
Stop
the
kicking
phone.
tires. Stop kicking tires.
Yeah.
Go do something. Instead of doing busy work to make yourself feel good about yourself, that you're actually doing stuff that I could sit here all day and I could write on my notebook and feel as if I'm taking notes about the business. But in reality, this isn't doing anything.
No.
I could read Think and Grow Rich. I could read Rich Dad Poor Dad, and I could stay in the book every single day. But if I'm not taking any of the advice that they're giving me and putting it forward into my life, what is the point? I did the same
That's
thing in high school and college. I read nonsense that I really feel like didn't apply to me. I took a test on it. After that test was over with, it went in one ear, out the other. I forgot about it, didn't even use that info. Now, if I'm doing this with business, you're not going to make a stride. You're not going to make the steps that you're looking for. So I really agree with what you're saying. It definitely makes sense.
Yeah.
Kidding.
So I mean, this interview is fantastic, by the way. I mean, Zack, you've been a great person to interview. I love your story. I love your energy. Truly fantastic. But is there anything else that you'd like to share that we haven't already covered, or any questions that you have for us?
Yes. So I don't know how to word this, and this is out of the blue, just like everything that I talk about is off the cuff, as you well know, anybody who's watching this. But thank you so much for the kind words, Jaden and Luca. Y'all rock. So honored to be here. And I wish y'all the utmost success. Anything I can ever do for you, I'm here 100,000% always. And I mean it. But that's another thing, too, is mean what you say and do what you say you're going to do, no matter if it's for your loved ones, your family, your best friend, or whatever. That will build confidence too. Don't be be dependable. But here's the thing: we're so caught in the moment of instant gratification, and don't take offense to this, because this should help a lot of you that are hearing this. This is out of love here. Everything I do is out of love first and foremost. But if we will, just yesterday, this is how I'll say it. Just yesterday, I was these two young men's age. I'm 39 now with two kids, 7 and 4, married. Luckily, I'm sober and I quit drinking 8 years ago, so I actually saw how fast time was passing. I've lost a lot of people I loved. You know what I'm saying? So I want y'all to realize that if you don't start taking the action and become the person that you want to be, and days go by, that's going to turn into years. The next thing you know, you're going to be 50 or 60 or 70 with regrets. Don't do it. Take the action now, okay? Because you're the only one that has to live with yourself for the rest of your life. And it's only, they say life is only but a vapor in scripture. And it's very true. Very true. Lost my father-in-law 3.5 years ago, very unexpectedly. The day before he turned 58, he had a massive stroke. We had to fly back in town to see him before he passed. And I got to see him and hold his hand while he took his last breaths with my wife, my sister-in-law, and my mother-in-law. Guys, we're here and gone. Take action and love those around you, and do it with a sincere heart. You don't want to have regrets, even if you are successful. You don't have to step on people to get there. You can just be proactive and loving people, and do unto others as you would have them do unto you, and you're going to be great at all you do. Pick up the phone and make the connections. Help people out. That's it. It's that simple. Help people out. Love them. Make the calls. Done. You're rich.
Awesome, Zach. What a great message to leave on that note. That's awesome, man. I appreciate your time, definitely.
Once again, thank you, Zack, for being here, being one of the superior realtors. I mean, it's truly magical hearing your story, where you were, where you've come to, what motivates you, what makes you get up in the morning. I mean, I truly love hearing your story, and I think you're going to continue doing great stuff for the real estate industry.
Thank you so much. Hey, what an honor to be with you both, and look forward to a long-lasting, fruitful relationship with you two. And I was going to say, now that's what I do. A majority of my time I spend helping other agents and brokers. That's it.
Yeah.
Deals are coming. I'm working on an off-market deal for 6.6 million because I made the call and I connected with them, and I got a buyer, seller, both sides. Let's freaking go. If you need help and you want to know how to implement and talk to people, so when you do pay these two young men for their amazing, amazing products, that we get you to connect. That way you're going to be closing. Any way I can help. Love you both, man.
Awesome, man. Thank you so much. Really appreciate it, Zach.